Hey, it's Joe Crump again. Welcome back to the program. This next message, or this next question, is from Joe Linus from Mill Valley, California. He says, what's the advantage of an LLC, limited liability corporation, over a corporation, I assume he means C corporation or S corporation, when holding investment rental properties? I know one guy who forms an LLC for each property, and then all the LLCs are owned by a C corp for taxes. What's the best solution for the average investment property owner? Well, the first thing is to start doing deals. Make some money first, because you don't need a corporation until you're making some money. I remember back when I was getting started, my accountant said, you at least make $75,000 in your business before you start worrying about a corporation. Before that, you can just do it on a Schedule C on your personal tax returns. You can still take all the deductions that you could take normally. It doesn't give you much asset protection, so if you're starting to hold property, that does become an issue. Now, the corporation itself doesn't give you a huge amount of asset protection, but it does give you some, and it does give you some tax advantages. So once you start buying properties, once you start keeping the properties, then it makes sense to put them into a corporation. Now, I've got a lot of properties, and if I had a corporation for every single one that I set up, I would go crazy. So what you've got to do is look at how many properties do you have that have a lot of equity. You're more worried about losing your equity than you're worried about losing the property. If the property doesn't have much equity, then you're not really that worried about losing it. If you're only losing 10 grand or 20 grand or whatever, there's only 10, 20% equity in that property, there's not enough equity for people to come in to foreclose because of a judgment. They're not going to be, they may look and say, oh, he's got 5 properties in there, or he's got 10 properties in that corporation, let's foreclose on it. That's not what they're going to say. They're going to say he's got 10 properties in that corporation, and each one of them have $100,000 worth of equity. Now he's got $1 million we can go get. That's something they might go after. But if they look at it and say he's got 10 properties and each of them have, you know, $10, $15, $20,000 worth of equity, if we sold them, it would cost us X amount of dollars, and if we, you know, after we got them all sold and liquidated, we'd have nothing left. So we're not going to foreclose, or we're not going to try to sue him to try to get that money because there's not enough there. So the big question is, what is your comfort level on how much you can lose? If you're willing to lose, you know, $10,000, if you're willing to lose $100,000, and it comes back to how much money you've got. If you've got a lot of money, then you're going to have more properties. You're going to have more equity in these LLCs. If you've got fewer properties, then you might want to get a few more. But I wouldn't split them up any more than 5. I've got a lot more than 5 properties in LLCs, and I think that it's probably still a safe way to do it. There is going to be some liability. You might want to consider liability insurance, an umbrella policy of some sort. It's not that expensive. You're going to have landlord insurance, which is going to cover you on a certain level as well. There's a lot of ways that you're covered, and there's a lot of things that can go wrong. But I think that it's much worse if you don't do anything, if you don't do any business at all. So my philosophy, just start making some money. Worry about the other process later. Go get an accountant later to look at your specific situation and make sure that that you're doing it in a way that makes sense for you. Because the job you have, all those things, the other income that you have, the other businesses that you have, are all going to make a difference on how you do your taxes. All right, hope that helps.